The inner citadel, how to cultivate psychological resilience. The inner citadel is a metaphor to conceptualize the Stoic discipline of ascent. Think of the essence of who you are, essentially your spirit. We'll refer to it as your character. Imagine that your character is a cumulative sum of all the thoughts and experiences of your lifetime. Each time an external event, an impulse, occurs or a thought runs through your mind, it has the ability to change the shape of your character. Now imagine that your character resides in this fortress that we'll call the inner citadel. But for some stupid reason, the fortress gates are left open by default, and the watchman is asleep on the job. What this means is that every impulse or thought may enter the citadel and influence your character. But what if we locked the gate and woke up the watchman? Then each time an impulse or a thought presents itself at the gate, the watchman interrogates the impulse and decides whether or not to reject the judgment of that impulse, keep the gate locked, or assent to the judgment, open the gate, and allow the impulse to affect the character within. The watchman is a metaphor for the Stoic practice of prohairesis, attention. It's an ever vigilant focus on oneself to control what is allowed to affect one's character. The truth is that most people live their entire lives with the citadel gates left wide open and the watchman fast asleep. They allow anything to affect their psychological well-being. Sadly, they don't realize that this is within their control. To protect their mental well-being is completely in your control. It's much easier to prevent damage to one's character than it is to repair it after it's been inflicted. The earlier you start this practice, the better off you'll be. With that said, it is a discipline. Simply knowing the concept isn't sufficient to reap the benefit. Maintaining constant attention takes years of practice, and it's easy to falter. But alas, there is an amazing sense of empowerment that is derived from this discipline. It means that you possess a sole control over what may psychologically harm you. If someone mistreats you, diminishes you, misrepresents you, or attempts to harm you in any way, the watchman may stop it at the gate, interrogate that judgment, and reject it. I wish I was taught this when I was younger, but I'm grateful that I learned it when I did. I learned about the concept of the inner citadel from a book by the same name. It was written by Pierre Hadot. It's an in-depth analysis of another book, The Legendary Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Meditations is maybe the most wisdom-dense book I've ever read, but so many of the passages in that book contain literally an iceberg of unwritten context. The truth is, Marcus Aurelius was oftentimes just simply reciting Stoic doctrine back in his own words, but the concepts come from another philosopher named Epictetus. Epictetus was a freed slave who rose to the top of the Stoic school a few decades before Marcus was made emperor. So what you essentially have is the most powerful person in the world at that time obsessively studying the teachings of a freed slave. Status was nothing, wisdom was everything.